Okay, good evening, everyone. So again, this is our Tuesday night session with the club members. What we'll be doing tonight is, there's no big news to be released at 8:30 or about that time, or no news tonight, no big news tonight. So what we'll be looking at is across the board, the trades on the H1 time frame. I don't think there'll be much M15 trades, so possibly on H1 time frame trades. We'll do a bit of a review into what happened. Well, nothing much happened yesterday. This morning with the yen pairs, and then for tomorrow, I'll prep you for tomorrow with the CAD news as well, right? So we'll be going through all that. If you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself, ask the question, type in the chat. Stop me at any point just to make sure you get your questions answered. With that, let's do the quick disclaimer. Any information shared in this video is not intended to be a trade recommendation. It is solely the opinion and views of myself, so please remember to do your own analysis prior to entering any trades. Right, so with that, now looking at the news here, just do a quick recap of what happened yesterday. Nothing much happened. Markets were quiet, set pretty much across. I had two small trades, didn't do too much, very small pip count there. Didn't look at it that much at night. But today, this morning, we did have the RBNZ, and I went through that already this morning, together with the RBA policy meeting minutes as well. So we had all that, those two news release. But the main thing today was actually before all that news, where we saw the Bank of Japan or the Finance Minister of Japan talking about the rates, right? So when they talked about the rates, what happened was we saw, not rates, talk about the exchange rates, and we saw the US yen weaken significantly, hit a level, and we saw it spike and now sit in consolidation. Didn't push through all the way. So it's quite interesting there for the yen, but I'll tell you about that shortly. What else happening tonight? We do have some building permits coming from the US. Not a big change. Housing starts, again, not a big change as well. So because of that, I'm not expecting big price movements, possibly some trend continuation, looking still for that dollar strength to continue into tomorrow. Oops, why is that not loading? Into tomorrow, we do have the CAD. So I'll prep you for that, right? Tomorrow night, 8:30 GMT plus 8, we do have the the Canadian CPI number month on month, looking like a small drop from 1% to a 0.9%. So if that does happen, we might see pressures on the Bank of Canada to continue increasing rates being relieved a little bit. So we might see the CAD move. I don't think we're moving too much, but we might see some movements, especially at the levels that the CAD is at right now. We might see some movements there. Hope it stays all the way. And then on to Thursday, the New Zealand CPI number quarter on quarter, a big jump expected from a 1.4 to a 2%. So I'll prep you on that for the Thursday morning New Zealand CPI number release. And then we have our Thursday session where we'll prep you on the news to be followed on Friday, right? So nothing much today, but we do have some news on Wednesday and Thursday. Looking at the dollar index right now, I was this morning quite keen to see it push towards that 101 level. It came as high as 100.88 and then retraced, now sitting at this 100.69 or 6917 level, right? So with the dollar index sitting at this point, what I'm looking at, right? If you look at it even on the H1 time frame, you can see that it's tested higher. It seems to be supported at 100.60. We might see it retrace a little bit before pushing back up again. I don't think that we're going to see it hit that 101 level tonight, especially given that we don't have big news to be released from anywhere in the US data side. So we might see it just sit at this level, test at 100.60, bounce back up to 100.83 in that range. Maybe tomorrow morning we'll see it push a little bit higher. What we've always seen is in the mornings it seems to push towards the upside before sitting in consolidation again. So not expecting big moves, but still some dollar strength to be applied or to come into play. All right. So with that, looking at some trade ideas, what are we looking at going through the routine? Right, going through the routine. Oops. Just checking, you guys are seeing this? Yep, okay. So looking at the routine here, the Aussie US on the H1 time frame, going to the Aussie US on the H1 time frame, right? I can tell you that for myself, I sold the Aussie at that point. I sold the Aussie at 7369. So 7369 was about that point there. Spiked down towards that level and I got out. So that was about a 20 pip move. So showing you just an example here, 7369. I sold it down. I had a 30 pip stop, and then I had a 30 pip take profit. Oh, a 30 pip take profit there, right? But then because it spiked down so quickly and it came to this level, so I got out at that point there, which is 20 pips, just hit 20 pips there. So this is 18. I think I got in slightly earlier. So that was my Aussie trade just before this session. Happy that I got out there because right now it's bouncing back up a little bit. What you could be looking for on the Aussie right now, I think this session, this Zoom session that we're doing right now is going to be a little bit tricky. I think what's going to happen for most of the things we talk about during this 1 hour, we're possibly going to see things bounce back up. We're possibly going to see things retrace. So, you know, not something that you're going to jump into a trade straight away. I think we're going to see the retrace before turning back down again. So if I move this away, this is too big. Move that away there. Okay. So now if we look at the Aussie again on the H1 time frame, I'm looking for it to move up, possibly towards that 7374 level, right? 7374. So that's about a 7374, about a 8 pip, I would say. Yeah, come up to about that point. If it retraces further than that level, I wouldn't want to be thinking about it too much. So I'm looking for it to move up to about that point there, 7375. Then after that, looking to sell it down again towards the downside. That will be the Aussie dollar. If it goes past this point, if it goes up, then I wouldn't be looking to sell down unless the dollar index turns up quite significantly, because we're still seeing that retrace right now. So that's why we see that bounce. But if we see it turn further, then most likely we're going to see it continue towards the upside. So I'm looking to see whether it will hit and turn from this 7375 level to turn down. If not, then it could be moving a lot higher. You sold Aussie at 7361, close at 5 pip loss. Oh, okay. 7361. Was it just or just that candle there? Oh, 7361 is there. Okay. Then it shot down, then it bounced back up and closed. Yeah. I was a bit lucky. I got in early there. That spike down, just got out straight away. Quite quick trade there. So that is the Aussie, looking for it to bounce up and sell down. I'll get to CAD shortly. Hang on. New Zealand dollar. Okay, New Zealand dollar again. Let me move all this. This is just drawn too big. Right, move that. All right, New Zealand dollar again. I was actually looking when I entered the Aussie dollar, right? I was deciding between the Aussie dollar and the Kiwi dollar, which ones to get into. Reason why I didn't get into the Kiwi dollar was because of this line here, this 6739 or 6740 level. I've seen how it rejected this once and twice here. I was looking for it to break below, to close below before selling down. So because of that, I'd rather get into the Aussie dollar rather than Kiwi dollar. At this point, if the Aussie dollar does, if the Kiwi dollar does move up, I would say that, if dollar index is going to continue lower, right? If dollar index is going to continue lower, then maybe you can look for the buy opportunity on Kiwi dollar towards upside. If the dollar index bounces back down again, if dollar index bounces back up again, then look for the Aussie dollar to sell down, right? So again, two scenarios here. If we see the dollar index get stronger, push up, then I would look to sell the Aussie down, right? I would look to sell the Aussie down, especially now if it bounces up a little bit, I'll look to sell it down, following that trend, and also because there's the next level is quite far away at 0.7300 there, so I'll be looking to sell it down. If we see the dollar index continue lower, so retrace and continue lower, then I would be looking at the New Zealand dollar to find that support there at 6740 to push towards the upside. All right, so I'll be looking at a short-term trade pushing higher about 30 pips, then you can keep your stop loss very tight. 15 pips, yeah, 1:2 towards upside. You would decide somewhere about here, about 15-20 pips, whether it can push higher. If it looks like the momentum is strong, then you can hold on to 30 to even 40 pips will be reasonable there. So you're looking at quite a good trade towards upside on New Zealand dollar if the dollar continues to push lower. But at the rate it's going, I think that we're going to see it consolidate and move back up slightly. All right. The euro dollar, we spoke about it this morning. I was looking for it to go below this 1.0766 level to sell down. Didn't happen. It bounced back up towards that 1.0791 level. At this point, stay out of the euro dollar, nothing to jump into there. I'm looking to see if I would only be looking to sell the euro dollar down. So if it does come down close below this 1.0790 level, then look to sell down again. So for those of you who are a little bit more aggressive, you can look to sell down from below that point. So about a 26 pip stop loss. So entry at about 1.0785, 26 pip stop loss, about a 40 pip take profit level towards the downside. Those of you who are not as aggressive, a little bit want to be a bit safer, then let it break down from this point. Hold that trade analysis that we had from this morning. Look for it to break below 1.0766 before trying to trade it down first towards 1.0746 and possibly even towards 1.0691. Right, so euro dollar, I do think it will drop. I don't see it moving much higher for any reason. I think it will drop, but it probably will need some time. So if you're a little bit aggressive, you can get that first trade. If not, no harm in just waiting for that second trade idea there, or the original trade idea there. All right, that's the euro dollar. Any question else so far? Not yet. All right, so again, euro pound. Euro pound, I sent out a signal this just not very long ago, looking to sell the Euro pound as that 6 o'clock level. I sold it at 8279. So I sold it at about that point, just as it was coming down. I'm pretty sure I sold it right at the before the hour, just before the hour closed. So I was trying to get in a little bit earlier. 8279 there, thinking that it was going to break lower from this point. It didn't. It bounced back up, right? It pushed higher. One is because of how the euro dollar moved, right? How the euro dollar moved. You can see euro dollar at that 6 o'clock time tried to go lower but pushed back up again. And then two, also because of how the pound dollar moved, right? So at that 6 o'clock time frame, you can see that it shot down and it pushed back up, and now it's pushing down. So as the pound dollar is going lower, it's going to push the euro pound up. So I would be a bit more. We tried to get in a bit early on that euro pound there, but it looks like it's pushing back up. What can save? Let me write down 15 pips on that trade now. What can save this push will be for the euro dollar to drop, lower, pulling the euro pound down. And why I say that and not that the pound dollar, because the pound dollar looks like it's pushing lower, right? So pound dollar, we signaled also for a buy at 1.0311. 1.3011, so at about that point there, right? 11 is about that point there, to push up towards this point, or 1.3040 there. So it pushed up, didn't go too much higher before tracking back down. At this point right now for the pound dollar, I would say that this 1.30 level is crucial. It's going to test this level. It's going to break slightly lower, bounce back up again. Same thing like what happened here, and across here. This points here. Now it looks like it's coming back down. Be extra careful. I would say that for pound dollar, only look to sell if it breaks below that point, which is 1.2982, right? Or you can be safer and say 1.2980. Only look to sell if it breaks below that point, because we can see that once April happened, came here, bounced back up. Mid-April came here, bounced back up. Now it looks like it's turning back down. Looks quite strong as well. So I think that it might come down. If it doesn't break past this point, it's likely to bounce back up. So just be extra careful with this. Wait for it, be a bit more patient. If it does bounce back up, I still wouldn't be looking to trade it up. I would say I would stay away from the pound dollar at this point because no real direction. You could, I don't like trading in the range too much, but you could be looking to buy it up from this point back towards a 1.3060 level. So about a good 70-80 pips there. Same as what happened over here and over here, but I think that it's going to be very tricky. So just be a bit more careful with the pound dollar. I think it's going to come towards that 1. It looks like it's going to break 1.3, but it might just test a little bit before bouncing back up again. My throat's going. All right. So US yen was the big one for today. I had 1, 2, 3 trades on the US yen for today, basically just buying it up. Every time I got into a trade, I had 30 pips stop loss, 30 pips take profit, let it run, got in, hit my take profit level, got out, 30 pips stop loss, 30 pips take profit, let it run again. For example, one of the trades was 127.62. 127.62 is about there. So I got in at about that point there, had my take profit at 127.92. So it just went to 127.92, hit my take profit, got out again, right? So that one spike, I thought it was going to continue back down again. So I'm actually off the US yen trade. I didn't like that spike, and now it's sitting in consolidation. So I'm just being extra careful on the US yen at this level. I would say to be extra safe, I will only be looking to buy US yen to be extra safe if it goes above 128.50. Right, so above 128.50, then look to buy on the US yen because it struggled, right? Look at it. Zoom in a little bit. It's came close once, twice, almost two more times there. Came close and reversed. I think that we're going to see it get resisted at this 128.50 level. So even if it doesn't break above that point, don't look to buy yet, even if it push higher. I would say that if it breaks above, then straight away you have your easy trade towards the upside, 128.50, 128.60. You know, I would suggest to do what I've been doing the whole day. The 3 trades was 30 pip stop loss, 30 pip take profit. Just set it. Once you get into a trade, just set it there, let it run, let it hit your 30 pips take profit, then reevaluate whether you're going to go for the next trade or not. You don't have to set a maximum level, because at this point, you can see that if I went out to the, zoomed it out to the daily time frame, it's been a very long time since we got to this level, right? The last time we got to this 128 level was back in 2002. It was back in 2002, right? 02. So it's been a very long time since this point, and you can see that once it gets to that 128.50 level, straight away we saw that big turn back down all the way again. So just be extra careful. The comments coming from the Bank of Japan is that they're quite happy for the yen, for the US yen to get to even 130. It seems unlikely at this point. If it gets to 130, for it to get to 130, so I would say be at 128.50 will be a very strong level. I think it will get to 130 because the Bank of Japan is talking about it, but we're going to see a lot of spikes there. So I think once it breaks above this point, you want to keep realizing your trades very quickly rather than holding on to trades, especially on the US yen, right? So remember that the movements of the US yen is, well, one, dependent on the Bank of Japan, but also dependent on how the dollar index is moving, right? How the dollar index is moving, whether there's going to be further comments coming from the bank, from the FOMC about rates increases for the US, all that put together is going to determine on how high this US yen is going to go. I don't think it will move up too much too quickly, especially after what is done today. So just be extra careful if you're getting into that last couple of trades above that 128.50 level. Then on Euro Yen, we spoke about this last week, pushed up above 137.31, went all the way to our take profit level, and then got stopped and then got reversed. So again, the resistance is 139.10. I would be very careful if it's going to break above that point, multi-year high level, right? So we went to the weekly time frame. You can see that the last time we came to this level here was in 2015. So can get there, can even go higher from that point, right? But you can see that this was a very long time ago. And for this to move, for the Euro Yen to move much higher, it will depend on not just the yen. I think yen still feels like it's a little bit maxed out already, but the move for Euro Yen towards the upside is going to be dependent on the Euro dollar. right? And you can see that the euro dollar has set across, hasn't found much upside, so be extra careful there. I think it's going to push up. I would like to see the euro yen go a little bit higher, turn back down before looking for further buying opportunities. So the temptation will be to try and move this a bit. The temptation will be try and buy it up, from here, zoom in a little bit, to buy it up towards that resistance level there, for 50 pip take profit, stop loss at about 30 pips. Could happen, right? So above 138.51, buy it up for 50 pip, stop loss 30 pips. Could happen, but possibly going to be a little bit nerve-wracking because you need the euro dollar to push higher, you need the yen to push higher, and the way we look at it, or the way we've been looking at it, US yen could go higher, but not a big amount of movements left. And then the euro dollar, looks like it could go higher, but I don't think it's going to reverse a large amount. It could go as high as 1.0811 or 1.0820 level, but I don't think it will go up even towards the 1.0840 level. So if you did get into the euro yen towards the upside, possible, but you would want to pay very close attention to that trade, right? So not something you set and forget, something that you would get in, but then you'll watch it closely. This one actually looks a little bit more interesting, the pound yen, right? You can see that it's retraced. So everything, yen pairs pretty much this morning shot up, set across, now retracing back down again. I would say 167.50 level was a retrace level, was a resistance level that started retracing. So with the pound dollar now tracking a bit lower, I would say look for it to turn down, look for the pound yen to turn down, maybe towards 166.30, towards 166.30, then look for the bounce back up. So I would say about that point there. So we'll be looking for the pound yen to move down towards that level. Then after that, look for that buying opportunity. I would say, about 166.50, take profit about that 70-80 pips. Stop loss again 30 to 40 pips, a 1:2 risk reward ratio towards upside. Look for that retrace, look for that bounce before buying up. If it does move up, if it does move from here, move towards upside, then just be a little bit more cautious because it's sounding like a broken record right now. Very, very high levels on the pound yen as well. All right. Anyone else entered any trades we can have a look at as well? If not, then US CAD. Okay, US CAD, we have the news to be released tomorrow. So just then when I was telling you about US CAD, I said, I hope it stays at the level where it is at this 1.2621 level, right? Obviously, it's not going to stay there from now till tomorrow night. I think that we're going to see it push up with that dollar strength into play towards that 1.2640 level. But I think that with the way it's been moving, it's going to push higher and turn back down again. So push higher and turn back down, same like this. Push higher, turn back down. This one, to a greater extent, push higher and turn back down. I think that for the US CAD, what I'll be looking for is for it to push up and then turn back down again. So what to look out for the news tomorrow? Tomorrow, US, for the Canadian CPI number month on month, looking to go from a 1 to a 0.9%. What this means is inflation for Canada dropping slightly, right? Dropping slightly. but you can see that year on year, median CPI number at 3.5%, common CPI number year on year 2.6 to a 2.7, trimmed CPI for the Canadians 4.3%. So still, bear in mind, still above the central bank's target of 2 to 3%. 4.3 is still above, 3.4 is still above. Only the common CPI is at 2.7, which is in between. This is common CPI is price of goods and services, right? Okay, this is on the previous average price of goods and services on sampled, right? So on common goods sampled there. So with that, I think that we're going to see the CAD strengthen a little bit because it's still above. There might still be pressures, but not as much pressures on the Bank of Canada to increase rates or to increase rates aggressively. They did it once already. At this point, I don't think they're going to talk about another rate increase. So what I think is likely to happen on the US CAD, I saw your question there, Robbie. I'll get to that shortly. So what we expect here on the US CAD is I would like to see it stay at this 1.2621 level, because if they do come out, this gives us an opportunity to do a straddle, right? So you have about a 20 pip below 1.2621, about a 15 pip stop loss. I wouldn't go all the way to 40. I would say it's a bit, at this point, a bit too much. So I'll say about 25 pip towards the downside. And then if it were to push up, then I would say take profit at about 25 as well, stop loss at about 15 as well, also almost a 1:2 risk reward ratio towards the upside as well. So I would like that straddle for this level now, with the Canadians news released tomorrow, because at this point, what we're likely to see is that it's going to be 0.9, but these CPI numbers are still going to be stronger. So it's going to be in the case where Bank of Canada might need to take action, but it's not going to be aggressive. So we're likely to see some CAD strength coming back into play, but it's not going to be too crazy or too big a move. So that's why I think that straddle with a tight stop loss and tight take profit will give a good opportunity to catch for that news event on Wednesday evening at 8:30. All right. So should we avoid H4 trade since market is choppy? Actually, the market isn't too choppy. If you ask me this question, say maybe last week and end of last month, then I would say, yeah, do H1, do M15, markets are super choppy. But at this point now, markets seem to have settled down a little bit, following more of a trending scenario here on the markets. The only reason why it feels like it's choppy is because the euro is at a very, very low point. The pound is at a support level, 1.3 level, that is deciding whether it's going to break higher or lower. The Aussie and Kiwi is good to trade. It's fair to trade. It's been trending quite nicely. The US yen actually, although now it's gone up very high, but it's been trending very nicely towards the upside. So if you just look for buying opportunities on the US yen, great trade ideas there. Cross pairs are always going to be a little bit more volatile, but there's so many other trade ideas to be had. So you shouldn't have to avoid H4. But if you ask me if this 2 weeks ago, then I would say do it short term. But if you want to be looking at it on H4 for this week, quite possible. a lot of the trades that we spoke about last week and this week about during the currency call for an H4 time frame, and it's actually worked out quite nicely as well. Right, so I just wanted to show you this. So like the US CAD, if you looked at it on the H4 time frame, you can also see that it's actually been trading quite nicely at this level. So once it breaks lower, you can see the move, or once it breaks higher from that level, you can see it push up. So it's still follows quite a good trend scenario. Aussie dollar example again on the H4 time frame, every time it broke a support level or resisted a support level, resistance level, you could be looking to sell down. Following the trend on H4 time frame, not an issue at all. The only problem will be like the pound dollar on H4, a lot of range shooting up and down, so that one's going to be more tricky. But in general, still okay. All right, hope that answers your question there, Robbie. Gold, I was just writing about this morning or this afternoon. I was anticipating for it to test higher towards the 2000 level, but I was saying that I was looking for it to come down. Actually, I forgot what I was going to say. Let me just find it. Gold, my view on, I forgot what was my view on gold. So gold retraced from 2000, currently at 1974. I was looking for it to consolidate or retrace down towards 1957, right? So you can see I was looking for it to come down to 1957 or consolidate at this level. Look for buying opportunities if price breaks out of consolidation or bounces from 1957. So still anticipating that downward move towards the downside before bouncing back up. Same as what happened here. I'm looking for a repeat, look for it to drop lower before bouncing back up for gold. You can do this on the H4 or on the H1 time frame for gold, but I think that gold normally what I would best suggest is do it on the H4 or the daily time frame. The H1 seems to be a little bit too volatile there, right? So again, quick reminder for everyone, if you haven't already, make sure you get onto TradingViews, get an account, it's free to join. Follow me, I don't know how to click that, follow my ideas. And then what I've actually just added on now as well is I'll look at some cryptocurrencies, I'll look at some equities as well, and gold, never used to do that. So these are the new additions towards a few analysis that we're doing. So if you get any of those ideas, if you like any of those ideas, make sure you join. Right. So with that, not very exciting, not a lot of trades to be jumping into tonight, but I think that we could be looking at a bit more trades or trade ideas into tomorrow and Thursday, when we see it's been a long weekend, markets are slowly coming back into it. I think we're going to see a bit more, especially pay attention now towards the dollar strength. If we see dollar strength, then on the dollar index, then it should be more straightforward towards what to trade for. Any further questions at this point? Anyone who's watching this on YouTube, this is done live for Traders Club members. The trade ideas that you have seen, this will be released to the public YouTube channel 1 week later. So you please make sure to check your own charts before jumping into any trades, because prices would have moved or could have moved quite significantly from the week before already. All right. So if there's no questions, I don't see any big price movements happening across the board. The Aussie is turning back down. Was you going to say something?
No, you just mentioned Aussie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aussie is moving slightly lower. Let me bring that up. You wanted to know about Aussie? So Aussie dollar
Yeah, I'm looking at M15.
M15.
Just waiting for confirmation.
I would say that because it is at 846 right now, don't look at the M15, go ahead, look at it on the H1, because even if you did M15, wait for that candle to close, it'll be a 1 hour close. So at that 1 hour close will be a nice, if it does have a nice downward move, so it does fill up to about that 7359 level, then it'll be a nice short-term trade towards the downside for Aussie dollar. So
Okay.
yeah, wouldn't look towards the M15 at this point, because M15 close, H1 close, nicer to look at the H1 candle. Anything else?
Jane, if you don't mind, can look at NJ.
NJ.
Yeah, Kiwi Yen.
All right, here we go. What do you want to do?
Just looking to sell because it hits the critical level 86.649.
Well, I'm in
Maybe.
a difficult position now. Why? Well, I mean, why I say that is because I know I can understand why you want to sell. Just putting a couple of lines there. I would say, okay, I'll tell you what. I would say look to sell only if it breaks below 8623. All right.
Okay.
Also because that would be a very bit of a shoulder hit and then a bit of a shoulder towards the downside, break that neckline or that neckline about 8628, that kind of level. Then we can see the head and shoulder towards the downside, possible. But if because of that recent move on yen pushing higher, then I would say that why I'm hesitating, because I would actually be more looking for it to bounce up from this point, then look for that buying opportunity. So I would say that,
Okay.
you could be looking to buy up 30 something pips, and then your stop loss would be 20 towards upside, possible trade idea there. Or if it breaks lower, then you would have a selling opportunity, 20 pips down, stop loss, take profit 40 pips, 1 to 2 towards the downside. So it all depends on what happens at this 8630 level.
Okay, Ken.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and it's a very crucial level as well. Now just zooming out, you can see that
Yes.
several times it's supported there.
Yeah, trade idea.
Yeah. So yeah, if it breaks below that point, look to sell. If it doesn't, look to buy.
Okay. Got it.
Anything else? Which other pair?
No.
No other pairs. I'm still watching the euro. I'm trying to see whether euro is going to break lower, not moving. Pound dollar is breaking that 1.30 level, but still struggling a bit. Euro pound has gone up. I'm not sure it's going to hit our stop loss on the signal. US yen is pushing up, so you could be looking at that as well. So the US yen is pushing back up again, so that could be a trade. That trade idea that we spoke about could be coming up quite soon. Why is all of that moving? Dollar index now pushing green. It was red, now pushing green. So looking for it to push higher. As the dollar index push higher, we see pretty much across the board, dollar gets stronger. All right. Any other trade ideas?
For US yen, it's also 30 pips and 30 pips stop loss, is it?
Yeah.
If we break above 128.5. around there.
Yeah. So about, I've been doing that for the US yen 30-30 just because I want to get in, and quite quick. Once the US yen starts moving, it's quite quick to hit that 30 pip. So, realize the profit, get out, see what happens again. Also because that, seen this afternoon that once it reversed, it drops very quickly before bouncing back up again. So just be extra careful for the trades.
Okay, thank you.
Righty. Anything else? If not, tomorrow we're looking at the pound dollar together with the euro pound, a revision of the euro pound as well, during the currency call. And then, I'll be updating on the platform. If you have any trade ideas, do me a favor, just post up some trade ideas, post up some charts. Let me have a look at it. I know how I can help you better there. All right. So for now, trade well, trade safe. We'll call it a night. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Into EchoFin platform. Any way you want, Robbie. See ya.